On today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, here's a tip on how to properly poach people from your friends or vendors or people you have a business relationship with. Now, I'm the CEO of a recruiting firm, so we poach and steal people every day. That's what we do for a living. But I'm usually finding candidates and pulling them away from folks that I don't know, people I don't have a relationship with, right? So it's a little different. So recruiting aside, okay, let's set that aside. Basic recruiting from strangers. Let's put that over here on the side for a second. I'm talking about recruiting or poaching from a friend of yours, a business colleague, a vendor that you do business with, a customer you do business with, an advisory board member, something where you're having an ongoing important relationship with, right? Here's the proper way to poach somebody if you want somebody from their team on your team. Here's an example. We're doing recruiting for a client, and we've serviced that client for more than a year. And somebody that works for that company, our client, calls one of our recruiters here at Riderflex and tries to hire that recruiter who serviced them. They try to hire that recruiter away from us, and they have this conversation with the recruiter. Now, the owner of the company is, I guess I would say, a friend of mine, right? I mean, a professional friend, not like a personal friend where they come over to my house for dinner, but we have a relationship. I was disappointed to hear that. I was disappointed to hear that CEO allowed that conversation to happen without calling me first. The proper thing to do in a situation like that would have been for the CEO to call me and say, "Hey, Steve, listen, this is Johnny. Hey, the recruiter that you have working for you, Mary, how's she doing? Does she love working at Riderflex? Do you love her? Has she ever thought about going anywhere? Do you think she would be interested in this particular job and role that we have over here? Of course, I'd never want to pull Mary from you unless you thought it would be a great move for her career, and maybe it would help her family or benefit her family because it pays twice as much as you can pay her at Riderflex, blah, blah, blah." Something like that, right? Like, that's the proper phone call to make. And then, of course, I'm going to do what I can to help Mary. I'm not going to trap Mary. I'm not going to, it's not like a prison here at Riderflex where I'm going to try to keep Mary for myself. And I would, keep wonderful opportunities from her. I mean, if somebody called me, if that CEO, my friend, called me and said, "Hey, we got this vice president level position over here for ABC company, head of recruiting, and it pays $250,000 a year. And you're only paying her $100,000, and it would, really do wonderful things for her career and family." Of course, we're going to share that with Mary and present it to Mary, and I'm not going to be upset. Right. But if you sneak around and don't tell me and try to do something behind my back without having the proper relationship, that's going to piss me off. By the way, I'd still be happy for Mary if she doubled her salary, and I wouldn't be mad at Mary necessarily. I would actually hope that Mary would call me and say, "Did you know that Johnny called me and is trying to steal me? Oh my gosh, did you know Johnny did that?" And then, of course, I'd call Johnny and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" But I wouldn't block Mary from getting the job, but I would be pissed at Johnny. Anyway, that's the way I handle it. If I want somebody on my team that works for someone I have a relationship with, that's the way I would handle it. You call the proper people, you have the right conversations ahead of time. I mean, that's just protocol. I mean, it's the right thing to do, right? Why would you don't blow up relationships? That you want a fast way to blow up a business relationship with somebody that you know, steal somebody from their team and not talk to them about it. You're gonna blow up relationships. I know this sounds funny coming from a guy who steals people all day long, right? Technically, I mean, we recruit people all day long from other companies, but again, these are from neutral, what I call neutral zones, right? For places that I don't have relationships with somebody. So that's the right thing to do. I encourage you to do that if you're ever thinking about pulling somebody from a colleague's team or pulling somebody from a relationship that you have. Do the right thing, make the right phone calls, and I think you'll be better off. And you'll find out that usually it works out. Like if you're trying to get somebody on your team from ABC company and it's a great, wonderful opportunity for their career, nobody's going to block it. Most people are not going to block that. Okay. They're not going to keep somebody from bettering their lives if they have the opportunity to do that. So why not just have the proper conversation with the right people ahead of time? And there is your Riderflex tip of the day.